before we get started, Tara, can we do a few of the procedural actions? Like, Tara, do you have the list of the participants?
Yes, sir, I do. We have the list of the participants, and I also...
You're taking the minutes?
Yes, sir, I am taking minutes.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, well, let's get started. So, hey, hello, everybody. This is the renovation plan meeting. Obviously, we wish we could be meeting in person at the club, in the ballroom, but I mean, under the current circumstances, let's just try to make the best of this digital medium. You know, as I look around at each of these Zoom boxes, I recognize a lot of faces looking back at me, but those that I haven't had the pleasure to meet yet, my name is David Edgerton. I'm the current president of the board here at the club. So welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us. Nikki, all right, you've already flipped to the agenda. Thank you. So the plan for tonight is to have Matthew Rankin as the renovation chair to kind of informally go over the renovation plan, add color, any observations to the renderings, go over the Irving Park pool, the clubhouse renovation, the expansion, the fitness center, the estimated costs, the intended timeline, and then finally try to answer any questions y'all may have. The board does realize y'all received a lot of information the past few weeks, and the point of tonight is to summarize all of that information, and most importantly and hopefully have each one of you adequately prepared and comfortable to vote on the proposal by Monday, August 31st. Before I pass it over to Nikki and Matthew, I wanted again to thank y'all for signing up for the Zoom meeting, and also wanted to thank Tara and her staff, and Nikki Ludwig, who's running this Zoom, and also Nikki will be reading y'all's questions that you submit. Nikki, can you please just go ahead and go over the Q&A Zoom chat process and procedure? That'd be great.
Absolutely. Everybody should have a toolbar at the bottom of their screen, and there's a tab that says chat. And if you press that tab, it'll open up a chat box. And then you can type your message or your question into the where it says type message here. And that will go only to the host, and I will see the question, and we will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. Does everybody have a chat box? Okay. I think we can go forward.
All right. Well, Matthew, I'll hand it over to you.
Great. Well, first, I just want to thank all of you for joining us tonight, for your patience through this process. I know it's been a long process, as we'll go over in just a minute. We started a long time ago, it feels like, but also hopefully you have received several items in the mail from Greensboro Country Club. I hope that you all received the renovation commentary and frequently asked questions memo. And I hope that you received the facilities master plan brochure. I hope these items have helped serve as a good foundation for your understanding of the renovation project. Tonight is really an opportunity to hear a little more color from me on the floor plans and the spaces being renovated. But it's also an opportunity to ask additional questions or explore in more detail the responses that have been provided. And so, as we mentioned, we started this process back in 2017, the club does have a history of wanting to evolve and remain relevant, right? We got to stay current. We have to provide value for our members and their families. And we want to be Greensboro's premier club. And so when we started this strategic planning process back in 2017, it was a member-driven process. We had a survey that was done. It included a detailed market study of Greensboro, and we had professionals who helped provide insight as to what amenity enhancements were well received at other country clubs and what our competition's doing. And in 2018, we turned our focus to a key element, which was of the strategic plan, which was the facility enhancements and financial stewardship. Nikki, if you could go to the next slide, please. So in 2018, the board of directors appointed a facilities master planning committee, and they were tasked with prioritizing the member planning initiatives and the interests of our members, the results of the survey, further enhancing the member experience, increasing the club's relevancy, the utilization of our facilities and the value that we're providing to our members and their families, and aiding the club in attracting new members and their families. And just as a side note, I served as membership chair for 2 years, and that experience really showed me firsthand that the decision to join a club today is truly a family decision. And so that means we must be a club that is relevant and offers something to the entire family. And so as the board and the Facilities Master Planning Committee worked to develop a conceptual plan with cost estimates and inspirational images, we presented these conceptual plans to the members back in September of 2018. We made some modifications based on member input, and then we held a vote. And the results of that vote, if you'll recall, were 76% in favor and 24% against, and that was back in December of 2018. Nikki, if you could go to the next slide, please. So this is, if you'll also recall, this is where things got a little complicated. Following the member approval, the Renovation Committee met to further define the conceptual plans, and then we actually got the real project costs from our conceptual plans. And that's where you'll notice what was originally authorized was $13.4 million. And the project cost came in at $18.5 million, or a 38% increase from what was presented to you when you voted. And that was largely due to an unprecedented increase in construction costs. I personally experienced in my business, construction costs went up anywhere from 30 to 35%. But we also had some scope creep, right, where as the committee got together, we looked at plans, we did some enhancements to things, and the scope of the original work did expand. But I also want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that when the vote occurred and the approval happened for the $13.4 million in the proposed project costs, it also included the refinance of, at the time, $3 million of existing debt. So what was approved back in December of 2018 was in fact a $16.4 million plan, which included the renovation plan and the refinancing of existing debt. So what we had to do when we realized we weren't authorized to spend this money because the cost came in much higher than anticipated, we had to go to Plan B. And so the Renovation Committee worked with our consultants to develop a more comprehensive plan to maximize efficiencies and improve functionality of our facilities. And so to assist us with this, the board of directors engaged a highly qualified owner's rep who is experienced in projects of similar size and complexity to help us navigate through this process. Nikki, if you'll turn to the next slide, please. And so you'll notice as we move along in our presentation and what you've seen from the materials that you've received, many of the original planning considerations and initiatives remain the same in our second iteration, such as enhancing the outdoor dining to promote increased utilization, maximizing golf course views and increasing member interaction, elevating our Irving Park pool experience and expanding our pool deck, enhancing our Donald Ross Terrace experience, reorganizing the clubhouse dining spaces to create more flexible use spaces and appeal to multiple generations, and address significant deferred maintenance issues at our facility. Nikki, if you'll turn the slide, please. We also made some changes, and most notably, we removed the standalone Family Activity Center. You'll recall that the Family Activity Center gave us an entirely separate building where the family grill would be located off the back of the pool overlooking the 18th fairway. And underneath that building gave us available square footage for youth activity spaces and sort of back of the house needs, such as laundry and maintenance and pool equipment and storage. And so we also, some of the most notable changes would be expanding the fitness and wellness offerings. By removing the Family Activity Center, we sort of took away some other spaces that we needed. And so this expanding the fitness center was originally identified as a later phase component, but by expanding fitness, that gave us the opportunity to find the necessary square footage for our youth activity spaces and our back of house needs, like the laundry and the maintenance and pool equipment. And also, we created an open air and multi-purpose space with a pergola overlooking the golf course right off the backside of the pool. And we also were able to expand and modernize our clubhouse kitchen to support the lower level dining from one centralized operation, as opposed to introducing a third full service kitchen in what was originally the Family Activity Center. Which after further study and with Tara and her operations team, we were worried that that was just a very inefficient program. And lastly, enhancing the tennis viewing experience. And you'll see pictures as we go through. Nikki, if you could turn the slide, please. So who helped us in modifying the facilities master plan in the second iteration? You know, the board of directors wanted to make sure that this process was a very inclusive process. And so we had over 100 members involved in developing this revised plan. The appropriate committees, I mean, obviously the renovation committee was involved, but aquatics committee for the pool complex, fitness committee for all things fitness, the house committee for all dining venues, membership committee. You know, well, this is what we're doing. Is that going to attract new families? The tennis committee, the youth activities committee, members at large, past boards of directors and past presidents. And the point of highlighting this is that this process included lots of input and lots of buy-in along the way. Nikki, if you'll turn the slide, please. And so let's go through some of the Irving Park pool enhancements. Nikki, next slide, please. All right, so this is the daytime view of the proposed new pool complex, just to sort of orient yourself where the adult pool is is where roughly currently the Donald Ross Terrace is today. And so you can see to the right of the adult pool, you can just make out the bar stool seats of where the new Donald Ross Terrace will be located. You see the shaded pergola sections for the adult pool and also for the family pool, which is the larger pool in the background. And then you see the tennis observation platform there in the distance and the expanded fitness center, which sort of dogleg lefts around to the backside of the family pool and the adult pool. Nikki, if you'll turn the slide, please. So this is just an aerial view for you to sort of get a feel for what does this look like in total. And just to orient yourself, if you sort of look at the bottom of the page, in white is the main clubhouse, and that's where you'll see the expanded kitchen, and then to the left the new adult grill, the expanded family grill, in the Donald Ross Terrace, the adult pool, the main pool, family pool, the fitness center, and then behind is sort of a field turf area that could be used for outdoor fitness classes or an outdoor area for youth activity spaces. One thing I do want to point out, when I first saw this, I immediately thought, oh my gosh, this could be a very dangerous area, especially if I'm playing golf, that someone could get hit by an errant golf ball. It is contemplated that this area could be bermed up and have plantings that will be very attractive, but also serve to shield a golf ball that was not intended to land there. But you'll notice the enhancements to the Irving Park pool experience, again, a top priority for members, ample outdoor seating in areas for member interaction, a new landscaping plan to enhance the pool surrounds. And then at the bottom right of the page, you'll notice sort of an enhanced walkway from the parking lot. The tennis courts are on the right of that fence and hedge, and a new pool check-in kiosk area. And so that's sort of also part of the package. Nikki, if you turn the page, please. So here we've sort of zoomed in a little closer on some of the family pool features. You'll notice there is a zero entry kind of feature where you see those bubblers coming out. That's over towards the pergola terrace and the pool changing rooms. There is also an interactive splash pad, which is just a modern day way of saying a baby pool. There are 6 competition lanes. You can notice the black lines in there. Those are the swim lanes. And this pool will be swim team capable. So we will actually, with our 2-campus model, we could have swim meets out at the farm, or we could have swim meets here at the in-town facility. You'll also notice to the right, there are low and mid-rise diving boards, ample shaded areas. There's a water slide feature, water basketball features, nearby changing rooms, a mobile bar, which will be located over by the covered pergola terrace, and an outdoor fireplace. Nikki, if you could turn to the next slide, please. So here we sort of zoom in on the adult pool features. Now it says heated pool, but I do want to point out that it's heat capable. It is not to say that we would just leave the heat running in the pool during the winter months for the heck of it. There are sort of polar bear folks who would be interested in water aerobics in the winter or swimming laps in the winter. And we'd have to work through, a fee that was reasonable to have that, much like you would have a fitness class, and pay for that. So I say it's heat capable. It will not be turned on all the time. There would be 3 swim lanes so that adults could swim laps while the family pool was being occupied. Submerged chaise lounges, ample shaded areas, close proximity to the Donald Ross Terrace, which is always top on my list. So we feel there's something for everyone here. Nikki, if you could turn the slide, please. And so now we'll go into the Clubhouse enhancements and kind of walk through those changes. Nikki, if you could turn the slide. So Nikki, if you could just leave it here for a quick second. I just want everyone to orient themselves. So if you go down to the bottom of the page where you see vestibule and foyer, that's the main entrance into the club. And so Nikki, we can proceed forward, but I just wanted everyone to sort of have an opportunity to orient themselves on where we were within our clubhouse. And so you'll notice with the red arrows that are starting to show up with some wording by it, the sunset dining. We're looking at enclosing the sunset terrace, which would provide us the ability to operate that area throughout the year and providing incredible views overlooking our golf course. And we're looking at, you'll notice you see 2 Carlisle rooms. We have Carlisle Room 1 and Carlisle Room 2. We experience, and look, some of these comments are pre-COVID-19, but we experience a lot of demand sort of Tuesday through Thursday nights with large groups that want private rooms. And so we've got the 2 Carlisle rooms, and you'll notice at the bottom of the page there, the wine room, that can also be closed off. And so you look at the functionality of what we're creating. It's not that we're trying to pump tons of money into the more fine dining experience, because the trends are all more into the casual dining. But really, there is a lot of demand from our membership base on having private rooms. And so this gives us incredible functionality to accommodate our members with those requests. And so you'll see the Sunset Lounge, that where the red arrow just popped up, that is where currently you have to walk through people having dinner to get to the bar. So this plan contemplates having that bar and that Sunset Lounge as a place to get a cocktail, sit down and visit prior to going to have dinner. Again, I do want to comment on what the vibe is meant to be for this space. This is where you come for the more elegant, upscale, or sort of date night kind of experience. It's not where you come to watch the ball game. Right now, this is the only sort of proper bar that we have. And so you have a little bit of cross-pollination between people that are there for a more elegant experience and people that are there just wanting to watch the game. So the upstairs, while it will accommodate more private room functionality, it will also set the standard for, this is the more elegant sort of experience that we're going after. And you'll notice we will have an outdoor terrace, and that is off the back of the building, and it will overlook the entire pool complex. And then we'll also be upgrading the aesthetics and accessibility of the main restrooms during this process. Nikki, next slide. Okay, so just to orient yourself with this room, this, again, is where you would currently walk through people having dinner to get to the Sunset Bar. So you'll see the familiar fireplace that is there, and to the left of the fireplace is the Sunset Bar. To the right of the fireplace will be an entrance that will go out to the new enclosed Sunset Terrace, or Sunset Dining area. And then looking to the right, in between the wine locker area, is looking into Carlisle Room 2 per the previous floor plan. I do want to point something out, and and we did this on purpose. You'll notice at the bottom of the page, in bold and in red, that the interior decorating and finishes are directional. This has not been finalized. This has not gone through the interior decorating committee. We didn't have time to do all these things, and especially before we even have the results of a vote. So I hope you can look at the renderings from this point forward, not for the carpet on the floor or the color of the walls, but more for the space itself. So I just wanted to point that out. Nikki, if you could please turn the slide. And so again, same comment as before, the interior decorating has not been finalized. Hopefully you can just look at the space for what it is. But what you're looking at right here is currently the Sunset Terrace that's outdoors. So this is going to be enclosed, and you can see, looking in the background, you can see the Sunset Bar there. So it's very convenient, and this will allow members to use this space year-round and enjoy these incredible views. Nikki, next slide, please. Okay, so here I just want to try and orient you a little bit before I start commenting on the space. So this is the lower level, and you will try to find in the yellow writing there, it says lower lobby, and you'll see a staircase there. That is the staircase that comes down from the upper level, getting you down to the lower level. And so hopefully that sort of helps you orient, like where am I in this floor plan. So Nikki, if you want to continue clicking. Okay, so the first red arrow that's coming up is the expansion of the adult grill. In the new adult grill, we'll have a big bar, much bigger than what is currently in the Sunset Bar. And the vibe of this space is this is where we want you to come and watch the game. This is the casual dining. This is where there will be TVs and as I mentioned, a proper bar that goes out onto the Donald Ross Terrace, creating nice interaction between the adult members that overlooks the adult pool. And then you'll also notice the family grill at the top of the site plan there. That right now there is a covered but open air space off the back of our building, and we would enclose this. And then you see the expanded kitchen in green. Again, this is having one expanded and modernized kitchen that can easily serve our venues downstairs, the family grill, the adult grill, and the Donald Ross Terrace. And so with this plan, sometimes the Donald Ross Terrace, which had its own kitchen, we'd have a nice day and we'd have a tough time opening it because we weren't prepared to open it. It wasn't ready to be opened. Well, now that the kitchen will be in one centralized location, we can easily, if it's a nice day, easily have people out there on the Donald Ross Terrace and served in a much more efficient manner than we can today. Nikki, if you go to the next slide, please. So this is a rendering of the new Sunset Terrace, which is, of course, is above, and down below is a rendering of the new Donald Ross Terrace, which of course is right off of the adult grill. And you'll notice that it does allow us to take in these incredible views of the golf course, and we've tried to blend everything in with the existing architecture and building facade as best we could. Nikki, if you could turn the page, please. And so what you're looking at here is a rendering of the family grill. Again, I would just say with respect to interior decorating and design, it's not been finalized. Please just look at the space for what it is. And as you can see, lots of glass, lots of windows overlooking the new family pool. And we feel that this will be a very nice space. Nikki, next slide, please. So this is the expanded 1909 adult grill. Again, same comment with the interior decorating and design. But the point here is, like, again, what is the vibe, right? The vibe is that this is the casual setting, and the trends in the country club world right now are more into the casual dining and having TVs and be able to watch the game, and then the benefit of being able to walk outdoors and enjoy people that are gathering on the Donald Ross Terrace and overlooking the adult pool and the golf course. At this time, I kind of want to just mention something about the size of our spaces, and if you were wondering what is the increase of our pools, we have a 64% increase in the size of our pools from what we have today. We have a 50% increase in the size of the pool deck of what we have today. We have a 20% increase in outdoor dining space from what we have today. And we have a 31% increase in our seating capacity in sunset dining. We have a 56% increase in our adult grill from what we have today. We have a 43% increase in the family grill, and a 43% increase from what we have today in the Donald Ross Terrace. So I know I went through those spaces quickly, but I did want to give you a feel for, you know, how much larger are we talking about? And so hopefully that is helpful. Nikki, if you could turn the page, please. So now we'll talk about the fitness center enhancements, and hopefully you can orient yourself. But at the bottom of the page, of course, is where you would enter into the fitness center, and you can see the lobby. And as it goes all the way back, where you see that it says cardio, that is the newly expanded area. And it would sort of dogleg left out across the pool deck that would provide for additional fitness, the pool changing rooms, and the pergola covered deck. I also want to mention that we'll be reconfiguring and enhancing our lobby. We'll have multi-purpose space for fitness and other functions. When we do reconfigure our lobby, one of the things a lot of clubs are doing these days is creating something called a grab and go. And for those that aren't familiar with what that means, it's a quick and healthy sort of access to snacks and drinks. If you're sort of on the go and you want to grab something quick, it's right there. And so obviously the fitness folks would be able to take advantage of that, as well as the tennis folks, because it'll be right there in sort of the shared lobby. And again, I want to point out the new covered viewing terrace for the tennis courts. Before we flip to the next slide, I want to call your attention, if you could just look at the top of the page, and you look at the cardio space, the group fitness, the pool changing rooms, and the pergola covered deck. I want to point this out to you because the next slide, we're going to look at an elevation from the golf course. So Nikki, if you will flip to the next slide. So if you look at the bottom of the page, you will see the cardio, the group fitness, the pool changing rooms, and the pergola covered deck. So I just wanted to give you a feel for, this is what that building looks like when you're standing from the 18th fairway, looking back at the club. And you'll notice that we have we've zoomed in up above on the screen the tennis viewing terrace, so you can get a better feel for what that looks like. Nikki, if you could turn the page, please. Okay, so with the topography that we have, it looks like we have a one-story building from the pool deck, but from the other side of the building, it looks like we have 2 stories. And so we're able to capitalize on the grade change and have this 2-story building, which will provide additional multi-purpose space for fitness. We're also contemplating having this field turf there, as I mentioned previously, for outdoor fitness classes, also possibly for youth activity events. And what you'll also notice is we've got additional treatment rooms for massage therapy. We have enhancements to a lounge in the women's locker room. And we'll be utilizing space below the new pool pavilion and covered deck for back of the house needs, like laundry, maintenance, pool equipment, etc. And then you'll notice in the kind of the center of all this are 2 different youth activity spaces for different age groups. So Nikki, if we'll turn the page, please. And so just to orient yourself, this rendering that you're looking at now is the expanded fitness center from the main level. So those glass windows you see in the background, you will be looking out over the 18th fairway and golf course. Again, I do want to point out that the interior decorating and finishes have not been finalized. Whatever would be done in this space, we would do sort of a makeover with the remainder of the fitness center so that everything tied together with what we were doing on interior decorating. Nikki, if you could turn the slide, please. Okay, the project cost and timeline. So we're getting into a part of the presentation where I know that many good questions exist. Why now? So I would start off by saying that there are several good reasons to pause due to the health pandemic and the recession that we are currently in. However, there are also some good reasons as why now is an opportunistic time. And so, as many of you are probably aware, parts of our facilities are literally falling apart and have become functionally obsolete. The pool complex, the pool will not pass inspection next year, and we've gotten estimates ranging from $300,000 to $500,000 just to fix and band-aid our pool to get us through. The pavilion building is virtually condemned due to the fire that happened earlier this year. And the family grill kitchen is very small and outdated, and it makes it very complicated to do what they have to do. The operational losses that we are experiencing due to the health pandemic, where we have forced closings or limited capacity, right? So all of our banquet business has been shut down due to the health pandemic. Nobody's having wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, big private events, and our dining venues are operating at 50% capacity. So we're expecting an operating loss this year of about $600,000. So what better time to renovate than when you can't be open anyway? Then there's the mobilization of the equipment. We have to cross 2 fairways just to get all this big equipment in here to address the pool complex, the pavilion building, and the enhancements that we're making. And so if you think about, well, could we just do something much more limited? Yes, we could. But it sure does cost a lot of money to get all this big equipment there. And it sure is disruptive and expensive to do it. So again, why not try to do it all right now? In an interest rate environment that's very favorable during a time where you can't be open because of the health pandemic, et cetera. The other thing I want to mention is that we're lagging behind our competitors with making enhancements and improvements. You look at Starmount, you look at Sedgefield, you look at Forsyth. We're sort of the last one that hasn't done anything. And we have significant deferred maintenance of between $5 and $7 million. And again, what's in that number? Again, it's the pool, it's the pavilion building, it's the HVAC systems, it's the kitchen. It's a laundry list of items that this renovation was going to tackle. Nikki, if you could go to the next slide, please. So even during these uncertain times, the club is in a favorable financial position. Our total debt as of today is approximately $1.5 million and is expected to be $1.1 million by the end of December. That's our total debt. The capital dues increase that was implemented in January of 2019 has enabled our club to pay down debt significantly. And again, as you recall, when the membership authorized spending $13.4 million on the previous iteration, it also encompassed refinancing $3 million of debt for a $16.4 million total project. Well, that $3 million has come way down. We have historically low interest rates for borrowing. We're getting term sheets from our lenders, or from various lenders, with 7 to 10 year money that is below 3%. And while construction costs have increased significantly from when we first started this process back in 2017, there is a feeling amongst many on the board that the cost of construction in a thriving economy probably is going to be more than what we're experiencing today. And I'm already starting to see that the costs that I've presented to you, I think we can actually do better with where things are headed, because projects aren't getting done. People are pressing the pause button on certain projects. But I want to close in saying, at least with this section, that this plan is better than the first plan. When the board did hit the pause button and we were allowed to identify challenges and problems that we had with the first iteration, and we could adapt to feedback from members, committees, and our operations team, and course correct to provide a more comprehensive plan, a more efficient plan, and a plan for the long term with something for everyone. So Nikki, if you'll turn the slide, let's get into the project costs and what are the various components of the project. So as you can see, we've broken out the various components. I do want to point out in the site work and the pool complex and demo costs of $4.9 million. I've had some people ask me about the adult pool, and is that driving a significant cost relative to the pool complex? And just from an informational perspective, the adult pool complex is $850,000. Not an insignificant amount, but relative to the $19.1 million total cost, it's a very manageable number, and is not what's driving that $4.9 million. I also want to point out some project ad alternates that are listed here. So these are things that aren't necessarily deemed essential, but these include a lot of bells and whistles. The one thing that the renovation committee did not want to have happen this second go round is that we only gave you the base case. and the really cool stuff wasn't included. We've thrown in everything. All the bells and whistles are in this. And in fact, and I know Richard Beard is actually joined us on this call and has participated to great length in conversations with our general contractor, Bloom Construction, and our owner's rep. We think there are some cost savings, but we wanted to come at the membership with everything in the kitchen sink. And so some of the things, we've got 3 pergolas with motorized retractable shades. That's over $300,000. We have wine coolers that are over $115,000. We have purchasing all brand new kitchen equipment as opposed to going to the used market where there are great deals, but we have almost $800,000 of brand new kitchen equipment. There are things that we can do to absolutely save money. The other thing I want to point out is in the hard costs and contingencies number of 2.2 million, we have over 1.1 million in contingencies baked into these numbers. That's 11% of the total construction costs, not of the total project budget, but just of the total project costs. Nikki, if you go to the next slide, please. So again, please recall that we had a favorable 2018 member vote that enabled the board to spend up to $13.4 million in the first iteration and refinance $3 million of existing debt for a total debt of $16.4 million. To date, the Greensboro Country Club has spent over $900,000 with consultants, with architects, with engineers to develop the construction documents, the drawings that we need to send to the subcontractors to get accurate pricing. Unfortunately, you have to spend a lot of money to really get accurate pricing. And this would in fact be a sunk cost if we decided, if this was voted down or we did not proceed. The club is currently in discussions with banks for an $18.5 million construction loan and a $1.5 million working capital line of credit. So that's a total of $20 million. So it's originally we were approved for 16.4. Now we're at 20. Costs have gone up. The project has expanded. I do believe this iteration is better. It provides something for everyone. In the first iteration, there was no fitness center enhancement. And I had people tell me that here we were going to spend $5 million on a family activity center that they were never going to set foot in. So I think we have a more efficient project and with something that truly offers something for everyone. So it represents a $3.6 million increase from what was authorized the previous time. Nikki, if you go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is additional financial information to sort of walk through how can we pay for this. Before I get into some of these numbers, I want to start off by saying that we have tried to condense a lot of numbers onto one page. So this is very high level, and we have much more detailed projection models for those who wish to schedule a time to walk through the math in greater detail with the Finance and Audit Committee. We can absolutely schedule a meeting to have a more in-depth discussion. But I'll try to provide sort of a quick high-level overview. There are 2 columns. You'll see a July 2020 column and a stress case column. So when we look at the total annual dues, and initiation fees in July of 2020, that I want to tell you how that's made up of, or what that's made up of. So right now we have over 1,200 members, okay? Now, these 1,200 members have varying operating and capital dues structures. So in an effort to sort of normalize all these different structures, right? You got young people, middle-aged people, older people, they're paying different dues structures. But in an effort to normalize the different classes of membership, we perform a weighted average to get a full-time equivalent, or FTE, headcount, which would represent full paying dues members. Now, at the time when we put this together, we had 1,028 full-time equivalents, or FTEs. And so how did we get the 2,906,151 under the July column? That is based on what we will collect with our current FTE count. And so when you look at the stress case right to the right of it, what we did was we stressed that by reducing the FTE count by 10%. So we took it down to 925 full-time equivalents, just to see what would the math look like if nobody liked these improvements we're making to our club, and instead of what the industry would tell you is when you make these improvements, you get lots of people that want to join your club. But what if they don't? What if instead we have 10% leave? What does the number look like? So normally, when you look at the annual operating loss that I have in here at negative 100,000, normally for operations, you try to break even, right? We're not a for-profit company. And so you have revenues and you try to match your expenses to come out at a break-even zero. We're sort of saying, let's assume, because every event that we have at the club doesn't necessarily make money, let's assume that we lose $100,000 in an operating loss. We also have maintenance level capital expenditures, right? Those are things. How can we maintain our facilities and just keep them properly maintained? And so we did a capital reserve study from a third party, and they went and did a deep dive and offered us a study that came back and said $400,000 was the appropriate number per year. And then we have capital lease obligations. So what are these? This is primarily the golf course, greens, lawn mowing equipment to take care of our golf courses. It also includes fitness center equipment. So that's what makes up that number. And so when you take our total collection of annual capital dues and our initiation fees, and you factor in a small operating loss, your maintenance level capital expenditures, your capital lease obligations, it leaves us with a surplus based upon our July full-time equivalent headcount of just under $2 million. And you'll see in the stress case, it leaves us with a surplus of $1.3 million. Now, moving down the page, I want to talk about year one of the construction loan. So as you all know, we're applying for an $18.5 million construction loan, but you don't borrow the $18.5 million day one. It takes you time for the general contractor to do what he's got to do. And every 30 or 40 days, he's going to send you an invoice. You look at the invoice, and in 15 days, you pay it. So it takes time to actually build up the full usage of your $18.5 million. And so in this analysis, we've looked at year one, we'd probably be 50% funded, looking at a full 12-month period. And also during the construction period, it is very commonplace that you have 2 years, possibly even 3, depending on what kind of project you're doing. But we've asked our lenders to look at 2 years of interest only during the construction period. And so we're not paying any principal during the construction period of 2 years. We're just paying interest on that. And so if you look at the annual surplus or deficit based on our full-time equivalent headcount, during year one, where it's interest only, we would have an annual surplus of $1.6 million. If we had a 10% reduction in membership from where we are today, we'd have $1 million. Nikki, if you'll go to the next slide, please. All right, so again, I want to say that we're trying to condense a lot of information onto one slide. And again, anybody who wants to do a deeper dive, please contact us and we will set that up for you. But this slide here contemplates what does year 3 look like. So this is not the first year or the second year as construction was finished and we're out of our second year of interest only. This is year 3 when we need to start making principal payments. So again, this is 3 years down the road. We've assumed that we have no difference in headcount from our current July numbers, or we've stressed it with again, a 10% reduction. So the full-time equivalent has not changed from the previous slide to this slide. We're still running an annual operating loss of $100,000, the maintenance CapEx of $400, and the capital lease obligations of $450. But as you'll notice when we go down, this is when our principal and interest payments kick in. And so we're looking at a 20-year amortization with a fixed interest rate of 3%. And so our debt service would be $1.2 million on the construction loan, which would leave us an annual surplus of approximately $700,000, assuming the 1,028 full-time equivalent headcount. If you look at the stress case, which would be 925 full-time equivalent headcount, it does get tight with 53,000 of surplus. And so, Nikki, if you go to the next slide, please. So here's the project timeline. And I want to say that we gave guidance to our general contractor that we only wanted to miss one pool season and that we wanted to be open for our most profitable quarter. Now, again, this was pre-COVID-19, but our most profitable quarter is October through December. Okay, that's when all the holiday parties and big events occur. And that's really when the club does financially quite well. But in order to achieve our goals with the least amount of disruption, this is the timeline that we were provided from Bloom Construction. And so to go down this slide, as you're all aware, the membership vote ends August 31st. If it is approved, site work would begin in the fall, in October of this year. And the pool complex would go from demolition beginning in October to completion in December 2021. The fitness would begin in December of 2020 and be completed October 2021. And then we've got clubhouse renovations that would begin January of 2021 and go through September of 2021. But again, we only want to miss one pool season and be open as quickly as possible. And so this timeline accomplishes that. And we would have the entire project completed by January of 2022. And so, Nikki, if you go to the next slide, please.
I just wanted to thank everyone for signing up for tonight. I just, the board's sole intention is for the membership to be comfortable enough to vote. The board wants the membership to vote and be heard by Monday, August 31st. And again, thank you all for your time and joining us tonight. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So,
thank you for my day,
everybody, and take care.